What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj. Today we're going to be talking about the Eastern Conference playoff race, who the real second best team in the Eastern Conference is. Break it down. There's a few teams to choose from. They're all pretty close. They all have convincing arguments for why they can be that team that can challenge LeBron in the Eastern Conference if there's any team that can do that this year. You know, like there wasn't any year in the last 6 years. Like, is there a team this year that can beat LeBron's team? Maybe they can, but they probably won't. Who knows, though? You never know when an upset could be coming. Any year could be the year when that streak ends. So, yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment an idea down below, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into this. So the three teams I'm going to be looking at today is the Washington Wizards, the Boston Celtics, and the Toronto Raptors, respectively, the 2, 3, and 4 seeds in the Eastern Conference at the moment. So that's something that I'm going to talk about first is the Washington Wizards just acquired that second seed in the Eastern Conference with, I believe it was a win over the Blazers. No, I think the win over the Blazers got them a half-game lead, but then the Celtics just beat the Bulls today. So the Celtics and the Wizards, they're both 2.5 games behind the Cavs, but the Wizards have a better winning percentage by just, I think it's like 0.004%. So the Wizards right now are the second seed, Celtics are in third, and the Raptors are 3.5 games behind both of them at fourth. So why are the Raptors part of this conversation? Well, it's because Kyle Lowry's injured. This team isn't going to be doing well, and they're probably not going to get anywhere higher than fourth till the end of the season. The Wizards and the Celtics are two teams that are pretty solid. They're pretty healthy right now, and I think that they can finish off this season strong. Wizards have a 5-game winning streak going. They've been so hot. They're the hottest Eastern Conference team since December 1st, which is crazy in itself. And the Celtics, you know, it's been a little bit rocky lately, but a big win over the Bulls. Maybe they get back on track, but the Raptors, they're not a team that I can see overcoming this 3.5 game gap. And it's not just because I don't think these teams are going to give them a chance, but it's just because Kyle Lowry's out. They don't have two guys to rely on. They got one guy in DeRozan, and he can't carry them that far. Even if they win a ton of games, there's still not a promise that they'll get higher than the 4th seed because they're so far behind the Celtics and the Wizards. Now, why are the Raptors in the conversation then? Well, it's because the Raptors are without Kyle Lowry, and he's expected to be back for the playoffs, and it's because they're trade deadline additions that they've made that make perfect sense for the playoffs. PJ Tucker and Serge Ibaka are the additions, and those guys could help them tremendously, and it probably evens them out with these two teams. I'm gonna give the case for each team. So the case for the Raptors as the second best team in the Eastern Conference is the fact that they've got two legit stars in Lowry and DeRozan. They have a stretch big and defensive forward in Serge Ibaka that can do a whole lot of things. Valanciunas down low is always a post presence. DeMarre Carroll, a 3-and-D guy who I honestly don't even think is really that good, but he fits with this team, doesn't have to do too much. And then their bench, they've got a few really solid players there. Corey Joseph and Patrick Patterson, I think, are two underrated players that are efficient usually and can cause problems for other teams in the playoffs on both sides of the ball. I think this team is pretty solid all around. Now, I just don't think they're good enough. That's the problem with them beating the Cavs is I don't think this team is good enough. I think they're really close, and they're closer than they were last year. And they weren't very close last year because last year, you know, it took them 14 games to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they got very lucky on the way there. They barely beat the 7-seed Pacers. And then, what was it? Whiteside and Bosh out against them in that second round series, and they barely get by in 7 games again. And then 6-game loss of the Cavs. Really, it should have been 4. The Cavs kind of took their foot off the gas in that series. But the Raptors are a better team than that now. They definitely are capable of getting back to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're a sleeper to do it because everybody thinks that the Wizards and the Celtics are better than them. But if Kyle Lowry can come back in time, if he can play well, if Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan can get over their playoff struggles that we've seen from them previously, there's not really a limit on this team. I think that if those guys play well in the playoffs, they get really solid performances out of Ibaka, Tucker on their bench. I think there's no reason why this team can't get to the NBA Finals. However, I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that these guys are consistent enough. I don't think they have a killer instinct. I don't think that they know how to win playoff series against good teams. I don't believe in them. We haven't seen that enough out of them, and I don't think this is going to be the year where they overcome that because there's just too many obstacles. Lowry's coming back from that injury. He's the leader of this team. How is he going to fit? Has he even played games with Ibaka and Tucker yet? I don't know. I don't know if he has. So there's a lot of questions for this team, and I think out of the three, they are the least likely to get past the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now let's talk about the Boston Celtics. The Celtics, they got Isaiah Thomas, king of the fourth quarter, clutch master. This is a guy that can single-handedly will his team past any first-round series, most likely, and maybe even a second-round series. Probably not, though, because they're going to need contributions from their supporting players, and that's been something that they've needed all season long. The Boston Celtics, they don't get scoring out of enough people. They do shoot a lot of threes, but their defense hasn't lived up to its expectation. They've got inconsistent performances from a lot of their bench players and supporting players, and they're really not sure what they can get from guys on a given night. Their biggest weakness, of course, is the fact that they only have one guy that can create a shot, only one guy that can get you a bucket when you need it. That's a weakness. You're going to need at least two of those guys in a playoff series. That's where the Raptors are better off than them, because they've got Lowry and DeRozan. But the Celtics, Al Horford, this guy's not going to get you a shot when you need it, and that was something that they may have hoped, he could be able to do, but he hasn't been playing as well this season, and I don't know. I don't think he's the guy for that, and I think that's going to be easy for playoff teams to take care of. Everybody that plays this team knows that Isaiah Thomas is going to be the catalyst for every single thing that happens. That's the problem, and that's the reason why this team, I don't think, can win the finals, get to the finals, just because they got one guy doing everything. If you can shut down that one guy, then they're done. There's nothing they can do. And of course, it's no easy task to shut down Isaiah Thomas, but the point is here that, it's way easier to key in on one guy in the playoffs. It's more physical. It's harder to be consistently great if you're just one player. Isaiah Thomas, the Celtics, they've beaten the Cavs, they've beaten the Warriors in their last 5 or 6 games. I think they've gotten wins against those two teams, the best team in each conference, which is huge, and it's showing that they can hang with those teams. But I just don't think in a playoff atmosphere they can hold out for 7-game series. I don't see that. They can beat them in a few regular season meetings, but they don't have. I don't think they have the supporting cast to do it. Now let's talk about the Wizards, who in my opinion is the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Yes, this is the team that I would say is the answer to the question in this video. The Washington Wizards have it all. They have a super dynamic backcourt, maybe the best backcourt in the NBA. In fact, no, I'm going to say it. They've had the best backcourt in the NBA this season. It's just how it's been. John Wall has been incredible. The guy can do literally everything that you need from a floor leader. He gets guys in their places. He knows how to hit guys for open shots. Bradley Beal and Otto Porter have shot the ball extremely well, and they all play defense. Their starting lineup is among the top 3 in the NBA this year. They have been fantastic. Their starters, their bench has been their biggest weakness, and they just acquired Bojan Bogdanovic from the Nets, who has been a pleasant surprise coming off the bench. He's been huge. Ian Mahimi's coming back, so they're seeing a few guys that could be key for them getting in the rotation. That's 2 guys on the bench that have been solid. They don't need a lot more than that. They do need a little more than that, but not a lot more than that. And that's their biggest weakness. They're solving. They've won 5 in a row. They're rolling, kind of. These games are kind of close, but they know how to win games. That's a key thing. And this team, they've also won playoff series in the past, on the road, at home, whatever. This team has been a good playoff team a few years ago. They're right where they want to be, second seed. They can match up well against the Cavs. They had that amazing game against the Cavs this season. I have more hope in this team against the Cavs than anybody. I think the Wizards could beat anybody 3 through 8 in the Eastern Conference playoff bracket. So yeah, the Wizards are my pick for that. But the Boston Celtics and Raptors aren't far behind to me. I just think that each of these teams, they have a lot of reasons why they could be the second best. They each have a weakness, and the Wizards' weakness is the least glaring out of all 3. I don't see their bench production is their weakness, and I don't think their bench production is going to be that much of an issue, just because starters are more heavily relied on in the playoffs anyway, and they're getting some bench production from some guys right now. Also, the Raptors, I don't know how everybody's going to fit together. I don't know if these guys are ready to win playoff series. And the Celtics, they just need more guys to contribute than IT, to score baskets when you need them. That's going to be a key thing, and their defense isn't good enough to hold up. So, that's going to do it for this video. Who do you guys think is the second best team in the East? Is it the Wizards, the Celtics, the Raptors, or somebody else? I'm leaving out teams like the Hawks, Pacers, Heat, Bucks. Probably not those teams. The Heat have been on an upward trend. So, you really could say the Miami Heat. They're probably making it in. But all those, the 6, 7, 8, 9, or 7, 8, 9 seeds, they are all on tears. They're trying to get that playoff spot. The Bulls aren't. Bulls have lost 5 in a row. Bulls are trash. Anyway, that's it for this video. Subscribe if you're new. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.